Behind me is the Yukon-Alaska border, 141st meridian, which is cleared from the Arctic Ocean down to the St. Elias Mountains. We're standing on the edge of the Alaska Highway, which cuts through here. It's a popular stop for people to stop and have a look at little displays regarding the establishment of the boundary survey, which came through here in 1907 to 1912, cutting through this large vista separating the two countries. What is interesting is that there's no mention of the history that stretches beyond into the deep past of not only this particular site, but of the valley itself. At the time of the survey coming through, there was in fact a large Dene village sitting all across this hillside, known as the Sogatgai village. The native people living here were told that they would have to move to one side of the line or the other, be subjects of the United States or of Canada.
Well, my name is David Johnny. I'm the chief of the White River First Nations. Been chief for approximately 9 years. My dad's name is White River Johnny. He was here before the road came through, you know, like he used to travel around. He said all over up in Asia and all those countries there. He said he walked and there was no road those days. It was all across country, and you know, everywhere they went, it was just foot power, and you know, and he was like a small little 5'3" probably, very, you know, not very tall, but he provided, you know, food for a lot of people, and a lot of people from Tok, Tenacross, all over come and see him. It was always Little John's camp. Like even when we were young, we used to go camp there and get 2-3 moose sometimes and dry it. Always been there. We knew that a lot of these areas were, because my dad said, you know, there's look out here, look out there, you know, all the way down Mare Creek, up to Sardo. And, you know, he said that's where your people used to live, you know, travel back and forth, and they hunt.
Grandpa Little John's site, so he's my grandpa. And we always use this for hunting, for looking out for moose. The person that I was working with, he went up to get some coffee, and he told me to dig in this little spot that was already done. So and then when I started digging, I found this. I went up to Norm and I asked him, "Is this anything?" And he's like all excited, yeah, it's good fun. And that's when it all started. That's when every year we came back, started digging here. Found a lot of stuff.
Can you see a bear face in there?
Yes, look at that. Yep. Good eye. Wow, that is amazing.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Put your pocket bear face.
Oh yeah,
We never were interested in stuff, you know, in the old stuff, you know, that like going back, because it was just like kind of a EG, like taboo, you know, to go dig up a grave. And then Norm came in and very slowly just showed and said, here's the interest. We're not digging up graves, you know, digging up sites, and then you can figure out your ancestors and how they lived, and you know, I mean, and you could just go back and you start imagining Little John's site. We're in the Beringia, and there's a big ice wall, like from Dry Creek down, and there's animals running around here, but there's one big ice wall over there.
The thing I know is that it's a Chindata point, and it's the oldest in Yukon, I think, or Canada. One of those. It's also called a teardrop. It looks shaped like a teardrop. It was used for spear, for killing animals.
University students, they come up from the States. They have no idea how First Nations live. And by the time they leave in the fall, you know, they're They're speaking our language, some of them. And then we teach them, you know, like when we kill moose, how to cut it up. You know, we take them putt lodges, you know, we do the whole route, the whole thing. We just give them everything, even moose cuts. When they look at it first, they just, oh, you know, like, and then as soon as, by the end of summer, you know, they say, well, if you guys kill moose, make sure your phone is up. It goes to show that even with just a little time period, you know, like 4 months, we can, you know, we can teach these kids that just came out of university that, you know, there's a whole different lifestyle out there. And now a lot of them say, well, we're going to come back up after we finish our studies. You know, we want to work for you guys. We want to do this, you know, because it's just totally different. And it's good. And me, I sit on the educational board, so now I try to bring that into, I want our history to go into our curriculum in school, like from K to 7 and up. You know, we want to make sure that that part of history is in there, you know, not Christopher Columbus investing, you know, saying, hey, you know, there's Indians there, you know. That's not history, You know, everybody is interested now, Even with a little piece of flake, you know, just a little micro piece of flake, you know, there's just like, before we look at it and it's just like, throw it away, There's no interest to us. Now, when you see some kind of flake or you see an odd shape rock or, you know, like something out of place in that area, you go over and you investigate, you know, and he brought that to us. He brought that to Northway, Tetland Refuge. He made people turn around and say, hey, you know, this is the way our ancestors used to live. You know, it's good to know that.
We got rained out on trying to get up to Negat Kai, and Tommy said, let's go up to 1216. Give the boys a little change of pace besides sitting around in this little cabin, camping and stuff. And so we did, and I came up here and I was working with Tommy on linguistics, and Tommy goes, you should tell those boys to dig around here, they'll probably find something. Over 90% of the holes that they dug, they found stuff. The following year I had a field school, but I thought, you know, the very first week, we'll dig around here because I know they'll find lots of stuff. At the end of the week, we had discovered our first Chindaden Point. We stayed here for the rest of the summer, and I've stayed here every summer since.
When Norm first came in there, a lot of native people were like, leave it as it is. A lot of times anthropologists will just come in there and dig a hole and do what they have to do, you know, and their permission come from government. They never really respect, you know, the people, language, culture that was tied to it. And when Norm came in, he, you know, sure, he did some sites and stuff like that, but he was there. He was there to learn the culture, the language. You know, he, you know, in a sense, you know, he became one of us. And we look at him now today as not as a white person, you know, intruding on our rights and our lands and digging up our ancestors. You know, we look at him as one of us. You know, he's just like one of Dene. You know, he's one of us. You know, he took the time, even though it took years for him, you know, in a sense, to get permission really to have a go at it. You know, he just stuck it out. Someday, like I said, you know, when he passed away, I'm gonna bury him up 1216. But that was a joke between me and him, so. Digging holes in the ground. They'll see the life that they live. I will dig another hole just down the line. Which I'll show you how to dig. There's another hole I have to dig.
I have to take my trowel and dig another hole, for it's down the road that I'll go.